How you doing? This is Eli Perlman Storch here with Kevin Kincaid. Two cool guys in sunglasses staring into the sun outside of Lincoln Financial Field.
It's really hot.
Just here to preview as we get going. USA versus Paraguay. Kevin, initial thoughts. How are you feeling for this game?
I feel fine. I mean, you got it in front of a home crowd here. So I think 50,000 tickets were sold. You know, we don't know how many people are coming in the game. Just walking around the parking lot, it looks probably like 80 to 20 American fans and Paraguay fans.
I was seeing only Americans, got all excited, and just as we were about to record, I saw 40 Paraguayans walk behind the camera.
It's tough to tell because the colors are similar and the jerseys are similar. But no, I mean, you should take it on home soil. I think when you looked at the group, and then you got the schedule, you knew this was the last game. You knew this was going to be the crunch time game anyway. I think most people kind of predicted that they weren't going to beat Colombia. Most people thought they'd get a result against Costa Rica, a win or a draw, and then you knew you'd need the winner or draw against Paraguay to get through. So, you know, with the goal differential being what it is right now, 1-1 will get the job done, 2-2 will get it done.
So from what you've seen, same two lineups the first two games. Is Jurgen going to change anything for this one?
No, I hope not. It's funny that we're, you know, that he is rolling out the same lineup for 2 games in a row because he switches it up so much. And we complain about him changing it up and putting people in the wrong positions and stuff like that. You know, do I think that all 11 guys are in the best spot that they could be right now? No. Do I think they're in the best formation? No. But we've complained about Jurgen, you know, doing so much to mess things up that we should just take a step back and say, hey, let's just roll out the same thing that we rolled out the last 2 games that worked the last time. And if it's not, then, you know, we'll make an adjustment. Yeah, I would still like to see Fabian Johnson play in the midfield, and I don't think Jossie Zardes and Bobby Wood are both wide guys, but, you know, it is what it is. It's with Jurgen in charge, it's the best we're going to get, you know?
I would honestly love to see, if it was me, put Darlington Nagbe in at that 10 spot, let him get there and help Jones and Bradley control that midfield, and then I'd bump Bedoya up to that right wing.
Yeah.
Bedoya's shown well up there. He tracks back. He can do the defensive work Jossie Zardes does. Zardes just isn't giving you enough. That first touch is so lacking, and the decision-making in the final third is so lacking, that if you put in a sharper player like Bedoya with the technical skills of Nagbe who's going to help you hold the ball, that's a sub I would make for this one.
Yeah, and they're not used to playing those positions, so they're not used to the defensive, you know, the two-way defensive responsibility that they have. So what happens, and I think you've seen in the first 2 games a couple times, is, you know, the midfielders in front of Bradley kind of have to split wide to cover that defensively, and they get a little bit stretched. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just I'd like to see. I wouldn't mind seeing Nagbe, so I wouldn't mind seeing Pulisic start. You know, even if it's still a game they got to get a result out of. I mean, I don't really see much of a drop off going from Jossie to either one of those guys.
Ironically, on the heels of Jurgen saying that Pulisic wouldn't have gotten these kind of chances if he was playing in MLS, he's not going to give him a chance to start in this game.
But that begs the question. I mean, like, if you're good enough to play for Borussia Dortmund at age 17, are you not good enough to start for the U.S. national team?
You are, and I believe he'll come on. I don't see any way that, because if they need a goal, he's one of their best attacking options off the bench.
Yeah.
If they're up a goal, he's one of their best possession players who can stretch the game and make up a Paraguay chase and be afraid to push forward and get too stretched. So I believe you'll see him in this game, and I really hope so. And in front of the Pennsylvania crowd, it would be a tremendous moment.
That'd be an awesome homecoming for him. So,
But I wouldn't. I'm expecting the same lineup, and you know, Paraguay, they're missing Oscar Romero up front with the red card. But other than that, they're Paraguay. They're not a whole lot of much.
Yeah.
They have some flair. They have a little bit of physicality, but it's the kind of game where if the U.S. plays in the way that they can play, they should get a result. It's that simple at this point.
Yeah, I mean, you look up and down their roster. They have some nice guys. You know, guys that you look at and say he's a nice player. You know, or maybe he'd come to MLS at some time. But you look at the other teams in this tournament. They're not Colombia. They're not Brazil. They're not Argentina. They're not Chile. You know, so really, I mean, when you look at the draw, you know, you think about the other teams they could have gotten there. I mean, it worked out for them. I think you have to take care of business. You know, when people were getting kind of antsy about Costa Rica the last game, you know, I'm saying, look, you gotta expect to beat a CONCACAF opponent on home soil every single time out. I mean, what kind of fans and media and Americans are we if we're worried about a CONCACAF team at home? You know, it's not disrespect to Costa Rica. It's not taking anything away from them. They had a really nice World Cup. Now they have a different coach. But you got to hold yourselves, if we want to be, you know, a top soccer playing country, you got to hold yourselves to a higher standard, a higher level, you know, and stick with it.
And that goes to getting a result here, and probably not just getting a result, but getting a win and going into the second round with the momentum of 2 straight wins, because you're likely to be facing Brazil if you go ahead and move on.
Yeah, do you want to play them coming off a 2-2 draw, or do you want to play them coming off a 2-1 win or a 2-0 or something, or even a 1-0 where they keep a clean sheet? Look, I mean, that's a big part of it. Everybody knew how the groups were going to shake down. You knew what you were going to get if you got out of the group, so you have to, if they'll get a result. I'm sure they'll get a result, no problem. But it depends how they look coming into it.
I never say no problem with this team.
No, but I
also think that you and I were both out here on Thursday, saw 23,000 people, mostly Uruguay, coming out here. It made a difference, even though Uruguay absolutely did everything wrong that you could have done wrong. But when this stadium, 50+ thousand people, is going to be largely pro-American. It's a nice boost, and for this last game to be here with everyone looking in on Philadelphia, it's a nice chance for this Philly crowd to do a positive one for Philly sports in general.
No, for sure. I mean, and they got short-sold last year when everybody thought they'd get to see the United States here for the Gold Cup final, and no, instead they. Maybe they went down to see the third place game where they lost on penalties, and ended up coming in 4th place in the Gold Cup. But no, I mean, the last U.S. game that I saw here was, the send-off for the 2010 World Cup where they played Turkey, right? It was a great turnout. Yeah, it was
that was a great game.
Great game. They won against a good team, but they like you said, they got the home crowd. They have the momentum on their side. They go out and put out a decent performance, get a result. They're on to Brazil in the next round.
So before we head in, what's your prediction?
I'm gonna say 2-1 U.S. I think they get a goal in the first half, but then Paraguay comes back to tie it up, and then there's like a late, maybe like a set piece or something in the second half.
Yeah, I said it before to a friend before the game. I'm going 2-0. I think the U.S. gets the early goal, and I think as Paraguay presses forward and gets a little stretched, whether it's Nagby or Pulisic or Bobby Wood, picks off a late goal as they counterattack against that flow of Paraguayans coming forward. So we're both pretty positive, which is a nice place to be for.
Yeah, I mean that's weird, isn't it? It's not how I felt about the Team USA and Jurgen Klinsmann not too long ago, but I mean everything's set up for him to get a good result out of this.
So we'll be inside. Follow us on Twitter at Philly Soccer PG, and where are you?
Kevin K, CBS 3.
It's not that good Twitter, but you can follow him anyway. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.